Hey guys, welcome to the Global Stamping Video Hop for October. This month we are all featuring techniques with vellum, and I was really excited. I love playing with vellum, and I was keen to show, well, I jumped straight away to this beautiful bundle because it calls out to vellum. It's actually a bundle that's in the mini catalogue, the newest mini catalogue. And it's called the Translucent Florals bundle. And just the word translucent makes you think of vellum because it's got that translucent feel. And I have used vellum for the flowers, which is something that the dyes look so good with vellum. And I've used a cool technique with those flowers, but the technique I really wanted to show was making shaker cards with the vellum. And don't you just want to sit here and just do this when you make a shaker card? I know that I do. So I've used two different types of vellum on my card though. So at the moment with Stampin' Up, we have our basics vellum. So this is just our normal vellum cardstock. But we also have these cool, I think it's called the Vellum Basics, which I probably should have got out beforehand, but it has three different types of vellum, I believe. It's the cool stripes, this really cool greenery type pattern, and the spotty as well. So there's those two different types of vellum that we stock, and you can change it up, so you don't have to leave it white. So here now I've decided, oh no, hold on, they're the two we're using. So I decided to use the cool spotty vellum on this card and make a shaker card. So I need to stop shaking it though. So I'm going to show you how I went about it. So we've got the two techniques, making a shaker card with vellum and also colouring the vellum with some alcohol. So I'm going to get started and show you how I made this fun card. So I have gone ahead and done some steps ahead of time because for those that have watched my videos before will know that I can make them go for hours. So I've tried my best to do some bits ahead of time to try and eliminate some of the steps so we're not here for hours. So I've pre-cut the bits and pieces that I need. So I'm going to do a berry burst. So this original card I did on Blackberry Bliss, and I decided let's make a different one. And because we really just want to focus on the technique. So I'm just going to make my actual shaker card with my vellum. I want to create the base first. So what I didn't do ahead of time was grab something. So I'll be back in 2 secs. Okay, I forgot to grab foam adhesive strips. So what you do need when you create a shaker card is some kind of foam, something to raise your card up. And these are a product that Stampin' Up sells, and they're really handy because you need to contain your what you're using for your shaker in there somehow. So you could use dimensionals, but you would need a lot of dimensionals. So I definitely recommend foam adhesive strips. So first of all, what I'm going to do is stick my pattern paper. So I'm using the matching designer series paper to the bundle. This was released as a special release, and it's called the Delightful Florals DSP. It is gorgeous. I'm in love with it. So I'm just going to stick that down, and then I'm going to cut my frame directly out of this to create my shaker. So I'm just going to eliminate some stuff going on here. So I've got my, these are the deckled rectangle dies, and this is what I'm going to use to create my frame. I have got the pieces that I need actually here, because what I'm doing, and I did this step ahead of time, is I wanted to create a little frame around the piece that I cut out. So I cut a gold frame to go around my shaker window, and to do that I needed to create the smaller frame that I used to cut my window and the one that was the larger one just above it. So what I did was create it with the third biggest and the one underneath that. So I've used the fourth and third largest frames to create that. So I'm just going to peel this up, and I've done this with gold foil. And what I want to do is pull that out, and I want the frame. So I actually don't need these pieces here. They're scrap, but waste not, want not. You can keep that piece and use it. and I want to use the smaller one to create the frame for my shaker, and that's the bit that I'm going to use. So now what I want to do is line up, I don't know if this has a wrong way and a right way, who knows. I want to line up my frame, sort of centered as best as I can onto this piece. Actually, I have learned that the Post-it notes can create a mark, so you're best to sort of put the Post-it note more towards the inside. Now, I'm going to grab my big buddy. Now this is going through two layers, so I'm just going to run that through probably twice because it is going through 2 layers. Just check if it's gone through. Yep. And I'm just going to pull that out. Now you actually don't need this piece here, that's scrap, but you could definitely use that for a card. It would look super pretty. Now I don't need the deckled rectangle dies anymore. Now this is the piece that we want to create our shaker with. So what we want to do is pull in that vellum piece. Now I just cut this to be a little bit shy of the piece on the back. So you just want that, you just want to add some tape because you really want that adhered down, so you don't want any of the shaker components to fall out, so make sure that's well taped down. So I'm just going to make sure that they're nicely pushed down with my finger and peel up all of those bits of tape. And then I'm just going to place my bit of vellum over the top there till that's nicely adhered. Now the next bit we want to do is just to add our, well, we can actually add our frame as well. So I'm just going to, now I think this actually does have, because it is deckled, it actually does have a wrong and a right side because of that cute little deckled edge, but it will, you will see that because it will slot nicely on there. So that's the side we want. So I'm just going to add a little bit of my glue. Oops. My frame. I'm just going to stick that down. Now you're going to hear my dogs whinging in the background. They're being sad sacks. Okay. Then I just want to go in with some of these foam adhesive strips now because I'm going to create the bit that cases in my sequins. So all I need to do is, first of all, I could go around this edge here and literally just box it in there, but I want the sequins to remain in just this window bit. But it is using more sequins doing it, more tape, more foam adhesive strip doing it that way, because you will need to also go around this edge, and you'll see why in a second. Well, you could get away with not doing it, but I will do it. Otherwise, these bits will not sit right on your card. Now, when you do a sequin shaker, you need to make sure that all of these bits are butting up against each other, because otherwise sequins will fall out. So you want to make sure that these are directly up against each other. So you're building a wall Now, another tip I have is when you've got that bit done, go in with an embossing buddy, add some of the powder and go around before you take this off though, because you don't want to make that not sticky, but just take the sticky off the edges here, because that will help those sequins not stick to the sides of the sequin of the wall there, and it will help them flow a bit more freely. Now you want to add your foam strips around the edge here, because otherwise this bit here will not, it can crush down, if that makes sense. So you also want to add your foam adhesive strips just to the edge along here. I actually forgot to do it to my original card. I was like, oh damn, and I had to go back and do it because it doesn't sit right if you don't have them along the edge there as well. Okay, so I might use some, got lots of scraps going on now, so I might just use a scrap piece to finish that one off. Right, okay, so a lot of foam strips going on there. Now what we want to do is create, so that's going to go onto our card front. Now I'm going to use the, what are these doodads called? Iridescent shaker circles. These are super cool. And I like to, you can use as many as you like, but I like to use quite a few. I'm a bit of a shaker circle fan. So I'm going to use a couple teaspoons full. But you can put whatever you like in a shaker card. There's quite a few options in the catalogue. There's also some in the online exclusives, I think. So the ones that are just online. And maybe even the clearance rack. I'm not sure. You'd have to have a look. So I think that's looking like it'd be enough. So then once you're happy, oh, that was risky. Once you're happy, you can take off the backings. So these are just sitting directly on the card base. So I'm just going to take off the backings of my foam tape. On both the inside and outer wall of my card. Make sure, have I got them all? I think so. Okay. Then make sure this is nicely centered. Oh goodness. Which it's not. Oh, can we rescue it? The joys of live crafting. Not live, it's not even live. Okay, I'm just gonna go this way. This is me trying to do things without putting my head under the now it's getting serious, I'm not talking. Okay. We're committing. That was way too serious. Okay. And then we have our shaker. Isn't that fun? Okay, I'm going to move all these bits. Okay. It looks cool on the very best, actually. A lot more bright. Okay, so next, I'm going to sip a coffee after that. the next bit I'm going to do is the next part of the vellum technique. Okay, so I want to do the cool vellum flowers. So there's two ways you can do it. You can leave, well, I'll just do it and then explain. Okay, so I'm going to get some pretty peacock and some parakeet party, as well as some fresh freesia and berry burst. So I want to do some leaves. What I'm going to do, actually, I'm just going to stick, I'm not going to use the lights, so I'm just going to go with the darks of each. So I'm going to put the lights to the side. Oopsie, putting it on the desk. Okay, so I'm just going to scribble I kind of want, with the leaves, I want it to be kind of parakeet party at the top here. Might even put some, I think I'm going to let this one run. Okay, so I've got it like this. Now, what you'll need for this one is isopropyl alcohol, but I buy it like this from, if you're in Australia, Bunnings. But then I tip it into one of the Stampin' spritzer bottles, and I have got it labelled alcohol. So that I know that it's alcohol. You can also, if you want to, just colour your vellum. So you could just colour vellum straight like this. So you don't have to, you could pretty much just go like this and just colour vellum and die cut it. You don't have to do what I'm doing. You don't have to add the alcohol if you don't want to. You could just colour it like that and die cut. What I'm going to do is actually spray with a few drops of alcohol and then that was probably too much alcohol, by the way. I'm going to let mine run. This technique was quite popular, I know, a couple of years ago. Everyone was doing it. I thought I would bring it out and do it with these flowers just for something a bit different. Because I know that colouring on the vellum was quite popular with these flowers, and I thought, oh, maybe I'll colour on the vellum and add some alcohol. Okay, so I've let that run, and I thought I'll bring out, I've got one of these blowy tools, but maybe if I add a couple of these, I don't know what you call these, blown circles. I'm not sure what the actual term for them is. And then because this is alcohol, it will dry really quick, especially if you hit it with a heat tool. So I'm just going to hit this with a heat tool. I love the hard lines, by the way. So if you get those hard lines like here, I actually love that look. If you let it dry naturally, you won't really get those, but I actually love the look of them. And this technique will only work on vellum with the stamping blends because paper's too porous, whereas this vellum has the waxy surface. So this is a technique for vellum. So how cool does that look on the vellum? Isn't it cool? And it looks like, well, I do actually have some here. Well, you can see it on the card too, but it looks like that when they're die cut out. So that is the one I want for my leaves, but then let's do one for, which probably should put the cap on my blend. Let's do one for the flowers. So I think for the flowers, I'm actually gonna do, just gonna scribble bits and pieces of the I've got a big bit of furry stuff on that. I'm gonna mix up the fresh freesia and berry burst. So I'm gonna sort of mix it around a bit. The berry burst is quite dominant, I think. Also, if you're not happy with the colour and how it turns out, you can go back in and dry it and then add more of one colour. So if I wasn't happy with how much berry burst was on there, I think it's harder to do with lighter colours, but you can go back in and add and change. You might be able to hear the rain. on my video. It's quite bad weather, so I'm hoping the lighting's okay, because I don't have the best lighting in my craft room. Also, if the colour's not moving how you want it, you can spray and add a bit more. Just let the colours flow and do their thing. Okay, then I want to go in and just add my, I think I've got a little bit too much of the alcohol on here to do these, but what this is good for is moving that colour around. Ooh, you can get some really cool techniques happening here. As it dries, I'm getting some hard lines happening. And then let that dry. Give it a hit with the heat tool. And then if you wanted to, if you weren't happy with that, I will show you. You can go back in and say you wanted maybe some other spots. This is when you can just adding a touch of that more colour and a little bit more alcohol. But you need to make sure that you do have it dry. Remembering that these are going to be die cuts, you're not going to see the whole panel. You're going to see little bits and pieces of this. I got this all over my desk last night. And just a hint, stays on ink remover, helps to remove this off your desk. So normally if you were using this on a card base like this is very translucent, so it's not very, this is very subtle. But if you're using it on a card base, like, you know, it's, you're not seeing much, but for an example, these are what they look like when you put them with the white behind. So you can see they're very, very vibrant and they're the same colors. So very, very cool. Okay, so now what we want to do is we're going to die cut to get our flowers out of these. So we want to do one big flower. Now a big flower is 2 of these dies to get a big flower. And then we're going to cut three, if we can get 3 of the little flowers. So we want 6 of those, okay? And then for the leaves, I have cut a mixture of, just a whole mixture of these 2 leaves here. So these are all the dies that you get in the die pack. And then I have cut out of these little dies here, if you can see, which are just these 2 here. I have cut those out of the More Dazzle paper, which is this beautiful stuff here that I'm obsessed with. I have cut 3 of the little ones here and 1 of the big one. So what I will do to make this a bit quicker is I will go and die cut them and then come right back. Okay, I'm back. I have die cut all my pieces and I have actually added some Wink of Stella. I don't know if you can see that, just to my die cut pieces. Now each piece I have adhered together. So I've adhered my 2 large ones together, which you can see the 2 small ones come like this. And all I've done, I've kept one separate just to show you. I've added a glue dot. And all you do is adhere them together like so. Now, it looks a bit wonky. Oh my goodness. Hold on. Can't get it straight for the camera. Hold on. No, I had it right. Oh my goodness. What am I doing? That is how it goes. Okay. So now each piece I'm going to adhere one of these little centers to. Now actually I think, oh no, I should be right to adhere them now. It should be fine. I was thinking I might wait till I put them on the card so I know which direction they're going, but it should be okay. We'll just wing it. Just, what does my son say? We'll guesstimate. And now this big center, we'll pop there. Okay, so now the next bit I want to do, so one of my favorite ribbons, I actually have 2, but one of my favorite ribbons is this one here. It's the herringbone ribbon. So it's this big white one. Now I think it's 3/4 of an inch, so it's quite wide. I think it'd be great for tying presents, tying big bows, but I don't think the width of this I would necessarily tie a bow on a card. But the really cool thing about this ribbon is it frays. So you can pull this out and it frays really easily and creates this really cool, it creates this really cool thread. So here I've got some pre-pulled out and the string's already done. But what I'm going to do with this stuff is color it. So I have already got some out and I'm going to color it with my Berry Burst Stamping Right marker. So I like to just pull it together and hold it with my forefinger and just color the threads. Move my forefinger and then just pull it along. So this is a really cool way to get coordinated thread to your project. And all you do is keep moving your forefinger and coloring. I love doing this. The other thread that I really like is from the mini catalogue, and it's the natural thread. Comes with the copper ribbon and it's from the Autumn Suite. Pretty much for the same reason. You can pull it apart and make it into threads. So I love the distressed kind of look that it gives. And now you just turn it around when you get sort of towards the end and work this way. It can make messy fingers, but it just shows you've been having fun crafting. Make sure you put grid paper down. Probably will do this to your desk. But you know what? The great thing for cleaning your desk is either your isopropyl alcohol or stays on cleaner. It probably won't get it off straight away, but if you pop that down on your desk, I probably do have a, here, let's see. You do have to leave it for a minute, so I really don't have time to do it right now, but if you do leave that stays on cleaner, it will get it'll get that off, but I will do it after. So maybe do it on something a bit more appropriate than that. Okie doke. I am going to do the next bit of my crafting. So I'm going to pop my big, I'm just going to stick these down so I know roughly where they're going to go. So I would like to have a set of 3 leaves. So one of these leaves is going to go into the center of the card. So I know that 3 are going to go onto the card front. So I want to have a little nest of ribbon onto my card front. So I'm just wrapping it around my fingers, and I want to work out roughly where I want it to go. So I know that I'm going to want it to go roughly there, and that's going to go over the top. So I'm going to need to have it adhered somewhere there. So what I generally like to do is use a stapler, but because it's a shaker card, I can't, because stapling these nests of thread is really handy, because you don't need any kind of wet adhesive or a glue dot or anything like that. So if you can, I definitely recommend using a stapler when doing this kind of thing. But because it is a shaker card, it's not going to work. So what I'm going to do is just work out how I want that to sit. And then I do have the advantage of being able to hold it down with things going over the top. So I've got some glue dots there holding it down at the moment, my main bits. And then I'm going to stick it down further with my flowers. So the flowers I'm actually going to adhere, they are translucent. So that's the thing with working with vellum, is you are working with translucent images. So they are harder to adhere, but this one's big enough that I can add a dimensional right in the center there. So I have added a dimensional, and I am going to add a dimensional to the rest of my flowers, but I'm just going to add a half because I don't want it to be seen. So I'm just going to lift up my bigger flower and stick that one in there. These little threads can get messy, but that's what I like about them. I like the messy look. It's just funny because I like crafting messy, like as in the cards to look messy, but I don't like my craft room to look messy. What do they call that? An oxymoron or something? Okay. Then we've got our leaves. So I'm going to then, maybe using a glue dot will be easier. I'm just going to tuck in some leaves. So I'm just going to use a variety because the leaves kind of came out in a variety of colors, which is what I loved about doing them in the Pretty Peacock and the parakeet, is that they came out in that big variety of colors. I just loved it. I'm reckoning that you can probably hear the rain now. It's really heavy. Okay, so we have got, love these leaves. They're so cool. Okie dokie. So that's enough for the leaves. Now I want to add Wink of Stella, because those that know me know that I love glitter. So I'm just going to add that over my background. And I did this one ahead of time. So I did my sentiment. This is not the sentiment from the bundle. So the bundle has these rather blocky sentiments, and I just decided that I didn't want to use them. There is a reason for that, and I'll tell you at the end. But also I wanted something a bit different. I wanted something a bit funky. So I pulled in the Charming Sentiments bundle, which is really super cool, because if you don't like fussy cutting sentiments, this is a great bundle for you. And another Kayla thing to do is heat emboss white sentiments on black cardstock. So I did a hey there, and in the inside I put what's new, which I thought was cool to send to a friend. So I have done that ahead of time, because I thought this video is about the vellum, so I don't need to show you how to heat emboss the sentiment. So I'm just going to add that with some it's funny because every card has slightly different placement, because this one is a bit different. I've added that with some dimensionals, and I'm going to then add this packet setting very low, some iridescent rhinestone basic jewels. These are so pretty. If you don't have some, you need some, because they're just beautiful, and every card will look different with them on it, because they pick up different tones in different light, so they're really gorgeous. Such a beautiful embellishment to have. Now I'm just going to add a few of them, because I'm down to the last of them. I don't think I have any medium ones left. I think it's about time I got another packet, because I think this is the one and only packet I've ever had, so I think I deserve another one. Listen to me trying to talk myself into buying craft supplies. Okay, so that's the outside of the card done, and it's a cool shaker. How cool is that for a card? 2 different ways of using vellum. Super cool. Now let's quickly make an inside. We're using the leftovers, because I think I can whip out. I'm so used to doing insides for my cards that they don't take all that long to make. And I'm a big believer in making the insides of cards look pretty, because we spend so long making the outsides of our cards look pretty that I believe that we should spend a minute. Honestly, it just takes a minute, because quite often we have leftovers from making the outsides of our cards that we can spare a minute to make a quick pretty inside, and then the recipient gets a pretty inside as well. And hey, why not make the envelope pretty as well? So I'm just using a little bit of fresh freesia on just the side. I quite like blending ink on the insides of my card, and I'm going to take a Berry Burst Stampin' Wrap marker, and literally just one flick of the ink is seriously enough. And then I had a touch of the DSP left over from my layer, and I'm just going to add that right to the bottom edge. I think it's a little bit shy, so I'm just going to take my guillotine and just trim that up. And then I'm just going to put a little tiny bit of glue along my edge, because I love this. This More Dazzle paper is becoming like Gold Glimmer was for me. For those that have known me as a crafter for a long time, Gold Glimmer was my love. And More Dazzle, oh, I just love it. I want a handbag made out of it. So I'm just adding this to a layer of Berry Burst. I love to double map my layers. You don't have to by any means. And then I have one of these little flowers left, which I purposely did cut one for the inside, to be honest, because I love to replicate things on the inside. And I'm going to add 2 leaves. So I'll add I think I need to have one with a bit more of the brighter colour. Oops, I think I did that backwards. Oops, that's right. It's got extra sticky. And then we need a sentiment. So I don't know that I kept my sentiments out, but I need the sentiment that says, what's new? What is new? And I'm just going to stamp that in some Memento black ink. What's new? And I shall adhere that. I feel like I've got really inky fingers, and now is the time when you end up with the ink smudges on your card. I shouldn't say it because I'll do it. Now I'm being extra careful. And that's the inside done. Okay, there we have it. 2, and they're in slightly different colours with different DSP. And I feel like I went way over my time limit, but hey, they were kind of interactive and fun. So I had a lot of fun doing 2 different techniques with the vellum, getting really inky hands, but I had loads of fun. So I hope that you had fun learning this. And hey, there was a, I am actually doing what's this one called? Translucent Florals. So this one's the translucent florals here with the Delightful Florals. So the Delightful Florals is this beautiful paper. So this is the feature of my November Sweet Card Extravaganza with Donna Gray. So if you are, well, wherever you are in the world actually, so if you're in Australia or if you're international, you can sign up to my class in November, where we are featuring 4 cards each, and so you get 4 by Donna Gray and 4 by me. So I will pop the registration link in the description down below in the video. So if you want more information about that class, you can sign up down below, and I'll pop the registration form. So obviously not this card, I won't be teaching this one, and part of that actually is vellum. So we're going to be showing vellum in that one as well, because, you know, vellum just calls out for this beautiful bundle. So there'll be vellum, there'll be translucent florals, and there'll be this beautiful paper. So be sure to check out the information for that one down below. So have a lovely rest of the month, guys, and I will see you next month. Bye.